Hello, how's everybody doing out there? Cousin Johnny here, bringing you another show. We're really excited about our guest today. This is gonna be great. So before further ado, please welcome today's guest. He's a filmmaker, a local filmmaker, award winning. And before further ado, please welcome Daniel Troia.
Hey,
Daniel,
cousin
how you
Johnny.
doing today?
Good, man. How are you today? It's good to see you.
It's great to see you,
Thank
and
you.
thank you for coming on. And I'd like to congratulate you for the award-winning movie that you did. We're all in this together. It was really great. I saw it, and it's a masterpiece, in my opinion. It was really great. So,
Thank you, Johnny.
Daniel, you grew up in Monterey, right?
Yeah, Pacific Grove. Yeah, but yeah, it's funny. I mean, you go by cousin Johnny. I mean, we could be distant cousins, because we're both Sicilians,
Oh
So
yeah,
a
I
lot of people.
remember. Was it your uncle that had the market, the Troya's Market, right?
Yeah, that was my great uncle Sam, who owned Troya's
Sam, yeah,
Market.
one of the brothers.
Yep,
Uh, all the Sicilians of Monterey used to shop there, and the uh,
exactly.
the purseaners, the fishing boats, they
Mm-hmm.
used to get their groceries there at Troya's Market. The good thing about it is the new owners, uh, they're keeping the tradition going by, keeping the name out there and
Yeah,
having a couple of items that the store had back in the day, like the Italian sausage. Yeah.
yeah,
So,
yep.
Daniel, how did you get into filmmaking? I mean, is this something you always wanted to do, or?
No, it was just by accident. Accident, honestly. I mean, I rode my bike across America in 2014, so 10 years ago, and I brought one of those little GoPros with me, right? Those little cameras, and I was
Yeah.
just kind of documenting some of the things that happened along the way. And then when I got home from that 3 month journey, I thought, man, I have some footage here. Maybe I can tell a little bit of a story. And that was my first shot at like kind of putting together a little video. And I thought, oh, the cool thing with bike touring is just that so many things happen along the way, and there's a story that's always created. So then a couple of years after that, in 2016, I rode my bike across Europe, and that time I actually planned to make a movie. So again, I just had a GoPro with me, but I was able to construct more of a story in that one, and I rode across 6 countries in Europe in that for that experience, and put together a movie called Two Wheels to Freedom, which is on YouTube now. And that kind of gave me the confidence of like, okay, I think I can actually put together like an actual movie. And then this last one, we are all in this together. I planned it for a couple of years before leaving.
Okay, so you've done what, three movies?
Three, yeah. One of them, only two are available. Two Wheels to Freedom, which is on YouTube, and then we are all in this together, which we're gonna discuss. That one's on Amazon Prime, Apple TV, and Google Play right now.
Yeah, that's really great. So you said that movie was 2 years in the making.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
I planned it, and you know what's actually interesting that happened is so I actually the first week of filming that I was up in San Francisco, trying to make it to New York City, based on the kindness of strangers, and I had a knee injury, and my brother had to actually pick me up, and I had to get a knee surgery, right? And so this was in the original version of the film, but I took it out because I felt like it was disrupting from the flow of the story. So if you watch the
yeah.
movie, we're all in this together. The first 10 minutes of the film is actually a separate year, and because I had to get a knee surgery and it took me a year to rehab my knee, and then my brother he dropped me off back at the Golden Gate Bridge, and I continued my journey towards New York.
Wow, that's. I'm glad you're doing okay. So you're a pretty much an avid cyclist.
Yeah,
You're
definitely, but Yeah, I'd say so. But the thing is I ride slow and I don't do a lot of miles each day. I mean, for me with the bike, it's not like a competitive thing. It's more about giving me like a way to connect with the world around me, because when I'm on my bike, I get my blood flow and circulation going, and it stimulates my brain to where I feel like I get super inspired, and I feel like I notice the world around me more because I'm just more engaged, right? I can smell the areas I'm
Right.
going through, and I communicate with people more because I'm out in the communities that I'm going through, compared to if I'm in a car, I don't really have the same opportunity to connect with people that way, and so for me, cycling it's super therapeutic, and it just makes me like way more interested in the world around me.
Yeah, I mean that's really great. So you took off from San Francisco.
I actually left from Monterey. I left from my doorstep in Monterey on the bike trip, and then yeah, I headed up towards San Francisco. And the whole thing was, so I didn't bring any food or money with me, and I had a sign that said, "Biking across country, ran out of food. Anything helps." And what I was doing was I was standing in front of grocery stores with my sign. And if I was fortunate to receive help from somebody, I would ask them, I'd say, "Hey, do you have a story about when somebody helped you when you really needed it?" And I had camera glasses to capture these interactions with people because I didn't want them to know in the moment that I was making a documentary, right? And so that was my whole goal, was I wanted to, bike across the country and capture these moments of compassion and kindness, and turn it into a documentary. And that's what ended up happening. So yeah,
Okay, I got a little photo here. I'm going to show
nice.
where you are there holding the sign. Look
Yeah.
at those awards. I mean, I don't know, Los Angeles Film Festival, Sherman Oaks, Breckenridge, Toronto. I mean, it goes on and on. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. I really
what a
appreciate you
fe-
saying that.
what a feeling it is to accomplish something and be rewarded.
Thank you for
Not
saying that,
maybe
John.
not money wise, but just being rewarded. Like, what a great job you did.
Thank you so much for saying that. And I always like to mention that it's really special because like the people that I met when I was making this documentary, they created the story. And so whenever it did receive an award, I mean, it's a collaboration with all of us. Like we all created this story together. So it's super special to be able to share that with them as well.
Now it took you what, 7 months to do this trip?
Yeah, so my original plan was I was just gonna see if I could get to New York City. That was the goal, and I spent 3.5 months, biking across the country. Across the Sierra Nevadas on the bike, and across the Great Basin Desert in Nevada, across the Rocky Mountains. Went across the Great Plains where there were just massive thunderstorms and tornadoes and things like that, and yeah, eventually crossed the Appalachian Mountains, and after 3.5 months, got to New York City, and I was expecting to feel something like some kind of closure when I got to New York City, but I got there and something was just very empty. I was like, man, I'm missing something, and so I stayed with a friend in New York City for a week, and I was just kind of contemplating, like, what do I do next? Do I just go home, or? But there was this feeling inside of me that felt like I think I need to keep going. I think I want to do a full loop and try to make it home. And so I decided, yeah, I'm gonna try to bike back home, and that's why I ended up spending 7 months on the road.
Yeah. Now in the movie, when I'm watching it, there you are. Uh, I think you were overlooking the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah,
You could see
yeah,
the Statue of Liberty in the background. It was like, wow, it was like he did it. He made it. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It was a
But I want
strange
to
feeling.
tell
Yeah.
I
What were
want
you
to
saying,
tell the
John?
listeners out there that, okay, here's a guy doing a documentary. Now, what you would think is there's a crew with him. He's got a truck in the background. He's got a guy filming. I mean, in an absolute emergency, these guys are going to help him out, right? But no, Daniel goes on this trip by himself, filming by himself. What, you had a drone or?
Yeah, I had a drone, and I would program it with my phone to follow me, so it gave you like nice, cool landscape shots.
I mean, you've got to, I mean, there was I mean, we're not really giving the movie away for anybody for this weekend, but I just want to say a couple things. There was a couple times where you were like in the middle of nowhere and going a long way, and it's like, how's this guy gonna do it? You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
now,
yeah.
Was there ever did you get to a point like when you did this is like you kind of stopped and said, "What the hell did I get myself into?" Or did
Yeah.
you ever get to that point? Like, I don't know why I did it. You know what I mean? Is
Yeah, there was a couple moments like that. I mean, the first time I experienced that thought was when I was going across Nevada and I was on a road called the loneliest road in America, and that was it's a highway that goes through the Great Basin Desert in Nevada, and there's like it's like 350 miles and there's only four towns, and so when I was riding through that area, I mean there was one specific day where it was 84 miles, three mountain passes, and no services, and that was one day where I was questioning like, did I make a mistake and just bite off more than I can chew because I ran out of water at one point and it just started getting a little scary. So that was one time definitely, and then there were other small moments along the way where I was questioning, but overall I felt like I was meeting so many different types of Americans and was fortunate to experience some compassion from people and capture this with my camera glasses. So that honestly, like those moments when I would meet somebody and just witness just so much compassion, like that gave me motivation to keep going because it was like, man, like who knows, like who I'll meet next or what kind of situations will happen. And the thing is because I was privileged enough to be able to like put myself in this vulnerable position, it created an opportunity for like to capture kindness.
yeah, as by watching the movie myself, I kind of felt a little emotion when where people were saying telling you their stories. I felt
Yeah,
emotion, which
yeah.
was really great. Now, did you plot like every morning? Did you plot where you were going, or you
I
had like
No, there
you
wasn't
just
much. There wasn't much planning at all. I mean, I did plan on going across the loneliest road in America because I wanted to experience something like really intense on my bike. And like I planned to cross the Rockies, etc. But I'd say once I got into Kansas and I kept going east, like I just totally winged it. Like each day, I'm like, okay, well I know I'm heading east, but as far as like what roads I'm taking, etc., I don't know what roads I'm gonna take. And then my sleeping arrangements, I hardly ever planned that at all. I mean, basically, I had my tent, my sleeping bag, and my cooking gear, and I would just, on the west part of the country, there was tons of places to camp, like in the mountains, on the side of the road, etc. But when I
yeah.
was in the Midwest and when I was towards the Northeast, like I was having to stealth camp, is what we call it. It's just like trying to find a place, kind of like in public, but being respectful and not going on anybody's property. But like a lot of times, I would camp like in baseball fields because there was a dugout in case it rained or keep me dry, and then there was usually a
Oh
water
yeah,
source there
yeah,
too.
that's great idea. Yeah, on the dugout.
Yeah,
But there was a
yeah,
couple times in the movie where you were camping in the middle of just no, I mean, kind of scary, in the middle of
yeah,
nowhere.
yeah. There was definitely some danger, especially once everything got more condensed as I got closer to the East Coast, and just more dangerous. There was more people, more crime, things like that, bigger cities, so it got a little more challenging to find a safe place to sleep.
Yeah. Now, how when I told people that you were going to be on,
Hmm.
uh, they messaged me with some questions.
Cool, man.
So I thought that I would mention it. And one guy said, "Do you, with the people that you met, do you still keep contact with some of them?"
Yeah, almost every single person that I met, I keep in contact with. I mean, there's a couple people who are living on the streets, and who helped
Yeah.
me and are in the film. And unfortunately, I haven't been able to keep in contact with some of them, obviously, because it's just hard to get a hold of. But yeah, almost every single person I've kept in contact with, which is super special.
Did you tell them you won an award or awards?
Yeah, yeah, and that's the cool thing, man. Is like when it does get it, like wins an award in the festival, I always like let them know, hey, man, like we did this together.
You did it. You did it together. It was really
Yeah.
great. And let's see, another lady said, uh, it took you 7 months. And how many miles is that? Do you,
Well, I rode 5,700 miles, and then I
yeah.
hitchhiked for 1,300 miles. And the reason I hitchhiked was because when I decided to leave New York City, I knew that I wouldn't be able to make it over the Rocky Mountains before it started snowing.
Oh,
So I
yeah.
thought, oh,
Yeah.
yeah. So I figured I'll try to hitchhike for some of the way, and then once I got dropped off in Montana, and then I rode from Montana to Oregon, then back down the Oregon coast.
Now, did you? They're saying, did you lose weight?
You know what's funny is only a couple pounds, man. I mean, there's a couple things that go into that because I was dumpster diving a majority of the time, and so dumpster diving behind grocery stores, and that was always an option. If I couldn't get enough food from just holding my sign, then I would just go to the back of grocery stores and load up on snacks. And as you saw in the film, I mean, there was literally dumpsters full of fresh food. So that was always an option. And also, I was fortunate and privileged in the way that, like, my sign was unique. I mean, it said biking across country, ran out of food, anything helps. So when somebody saw my sign, there was a certain percentage of people who were just curious to talk to me because they're like, "Oh, cool, man! Like, you're biking across the country," and so it kind of opened up. I had more of an advantage by having a unique sign. Yeah.
Yeah. Now I noticed by the end of your trip, I mean, you kind of look clean cut on the way there. On the way back, you look like a mountain man. Did
Yeah.
that affect?
Yeah.
Did that
Yeah.
affect any?
It did, yeah. It's just as my appearance started to change, I started receiving much less help from people, and that was no question. I mean, it was very obvious as my beard grew longer, and also just the stresses of the lifestyle that I was living because 7 months of trying to find a safe place to sleep and trying to find a place to bathe and like trying to get enough food for the day and always standing out in public with my sign, like after a while that started to weigh on me, and so I was putting out like a much different energy than when I started. Like in the beginning when I first left California, like I looked like this, more clean cut, etc. And like just I felt was feeling strong physically and mentally, and I was fresh. But after
Yeah.
7 months of it, I was putting out a way different energy that was pushing people away.
How was it going into the deep south? Was
Well,
that
the
kind
farther
of?
south, I actually didn't make it totally to the deep south, actually. The closest I was Missouri. But it was different for sure, man. It was a different lifestyle. I remember it was pretty interesting. Like I camped on this guy's property, and he's like he had a gun in his hip, and he's like, you want to come in for dinner? I'm like, yeah, totally. And so I went in for dinner, and we were just talking, and he was saying that even in his own house he keeps a gun on his hip. And I thought, man, that's just way different than where I'm from. You don't usually see
Yeah.
that, and that was just kind of some cultural differences there.
Yeah. What were you? I know you said you trying to break any speed records, but what do you think? How many miles you think you went a day? A couple hundred or
Oh,
hundred or?
nothing like that. No, not even because I had all my gear and like I was carrying about 60 pounds of gear with my camera
Yeah.
stuff and like all my cooking gear and sleeping. So it was probably between like 50 and 60 miles a day. I mean, on average, I'd say there were certain days where I rode up to like 90, like in Kansas. But in general, I was going slower and just, if I had the opportunity to talk to someone, sometimes I'd stop in town for an hour and just talk. So I was in no rush.
I think when you made it back to California and you made it back to good old Monterey, what was the first thing you did? Was it like I'm gonna go get the biggest martini I can find, or
Oh, that's funny, man.
I'm gonna go to the whaling station and get the biggest steak I can find? What did you? What was it? Or just I'm gonna sleep for 3 days? Well,
Yeah, it's a trip, man. Is because the majority of the time I'm always moving and like I'm always trying to like be outside and just
yeah,
I never like to stay inside. But for that first month when I got home, I was just like I was a couch potato for a month, just staying in my room and just stocking my refrigerator with food and taking hot showers. And I definitely needed like some time to recover. I just felt so like mentally and physically exhausted because just again with that lifestyle, like there was one aspect of like the fact that I was out there with my sign all the time. It's like I was always out in public and I didn't have a really like my own space, and that like that got really difficult after 7 months. I mean, I would be hanging out in a baseball dugout for most nights, and it just so once I did get home, the idea of having like my own space and a refrigerator and a shower and a
yeah.
bed, that was just amazing. So I just spent a lot of time indoors.
Were you able to when you were on the trip? Were you able to with you had a cell phone, right? Were you able to call your family and say, "Hey, I'm okay," or "I'm in Missouri," or?
Yeah. So I did keep in contact with some friends and family, but I didn't really open up about some of the challenges of it because I didn't want them to get worried. So like when dangerous things would happen, I wouldn't tell them those stories because I didn't want them to freak out about it. But I would check in with them, every couple of weeks or so. I would check in, but I didn't do it too much, honestly, because I was trying to really like immerse myself in the experience. And sometimes if I was talking to people from back home, it just kind of took me out of the experience. So, and that's in
If you have
general when
it.
I travel. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like when I travel in general, I usually just kind of immerse myself and don't really communicate with people back home too often.
And what about your best friend? That bike. That bike held out. Your
Yeah,
bike.
yeah, yeah. That bike, it's a surly long haul trucker. I've taken it on 4 bike tours, so 2 across the U.S. and 2 across Europe, and that thing is amazing. I mean, I love it. It has so many scratches and like it looks super beat up, but it's still in great condition. It's been through
It's
so
bulletproof.
much,
It's bulletproof.
pretty much.
Bulletproof. So you got it
Yeah.
now. Is it your bike is now retired out to pasture, or you still use it? Is
Oh
it
no, I'm
retired?
still using it. I really hope to have it forever. I mean, it's got a steel frame, so as long as I kind of replace the parts, I think I should have it for a long time.
Man, that is that's great because I was watching the movie and it was like, if you break down, I mean, what do you do? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, yeah. I
I
was
mean, if you get
fortunate.
a
I mean,
flat, I mean,
yeah. The crazy thing. I mean, I always kept 2 extra tubes on me in case I did get a flat tire. But the amazing thing is, 7 months on the road and I only got 5 flat tires the whole time. I couldn't believe it. It was amazing.
there was no problem changing them. You changed
No,
them and
no,
everything.
got a lot of experience with that. Unfortunately.
But I mean, there was I think a guy in a van that he helped you out and he drove you somewhere to get some parts for your bike.
Yeah, that was in the beginning. That was just right outside of Santa Cruz, actually. Like my seat broke, and it was like the first, I think it was the second day of the trip, and I hitchhiked from this guy. He picked me up, another Sicilian. Yeah, another Sicilian man picked me up, and he drove me all the way out to close to like Half Moon Bay to get a
And
replacement
then
part.
I let me just show her. Here's a photo of you in Europe. Wow, look at that, beautiful. That's
Yeah,
great.
that was this past summer. That was a mountain pass called the Stelvio. It had 45 switchbacks. If you can see in the left of the photo, those switchbacks for the road, there was 45 of those, and it took me up to like 9,500 feet. And it was a 5-hour climb to get up there, but the view was absolutely spectacular. So wonderful feeling to get to the top of that, and even better riding down it the other side.
Yeah, there you are there.
Hey, that was taken by local photographer Brad Wright, photographer and musician
Oh
Brad
yeah,
Wright.
well, we gotta let's shout out to Brad. I mean,
Yeah,
that guy,
definitely.
he's good. He's a
He is. Yeah, he took that shot, and that was right over Ocean View Boulevard in Pacific Grove. He took that shot. So
yeah.
shout out to Brad
That's
Wright.
Brad Wright. Hats off to you. Beautiful photo.
Yeah,
Plus, he
yeah.
plays guitar, a good guitar.
He's good. He's good too. Yeah, funny story with Brad. I met him because, um, yeah, I met him through physical therapy actually. Yeah, yeah.
I
He's his
mean,
trainer.
he does like a little bit of everything. You don't really know, but he does it. You know what I mean? It's like
It's true. It's
I
true.
saw him play, you know, guitar. And then next time I looked on Facebook and he had a bunch of photos,
Yeah,
beautiful photos.
he's
It was
super
like
talented.
I does everything. All
Yep.
right.
And he's funny as hell.
Yeah, he's a good man. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have you got a show this weekend. You're going to show the show, right?
Yeah,
At
super excited.
Lighthouse Cinema. And that's going to be
Yep.
when?
Yeah,
When and
so
what
this
time?
yeah, this Friday and Saturday at the Lighthouse Cinema in Pacific Grove. It's going to be showing so March 1st and 2nd, Friday and Saturday at 7 p.m. The show starts on both those nights, and 100% of the ticket sales are going to go to Dorothy's Place, which is the homeless shelter in Salinas. So we're raising money for them, and then I'll be at both shows, and I'm going to do a Q&A after each showing. So I'll be taking questions and things like that, and talking about sharing stories that didn't make the final cut of the movie and stuff, and taking questions. So super excited. Hope everybody can come out and and support Dorothy's place.
Well, I want to thank you for giving back to the community and doing a fundraiser for Dorothy's place. So
Thank you.
thank
It's
you
my
for
pleasure.
that.
My
And I
pleasure.
want to tell all the listeners out there that this is a great show about courage, about humanity. you know, it's really great, and it kind of keeps you on the edge of your seat because you're waiting for something, something weird to happen, or seems like I'm sure there was a couple weird moments, but you
Yeah.
made it through in 7 months. You're back and you're sharing your story, and we love it. So once again, Lighthouse Cinema. Did you say 7 o'clock?
Yeah. 7 p.m.
7 o'clock. Friday,
Yep.
Saturday. Go out, check it out, and it's a good advantage to take for you people to take advantage of those great restaurants in downtown Pacific Grove.
Well said. Well
You
said.
let's spend some money in this community and let's watch this great show. Support Dorothy's Kitchen and support Daniel that did this beautiful documentary. So, Daniel, I want to thank you for coming on to this show, and great job on Everybody Has a Story to Tell. And what's in it for the future before I let you go? Are
Yeah.
you
So
planning another movie or?
yeah. So this in May or June, I'm gonna release my next film. It's gonna be called The Child Within. And for this film, I filmed it last summer. I rode my bike across Europe. And this movie's about finding the thing that makes you feel like a child again. And for me, it's riding my bike. So like,
Uh,
I'm super excited to release that movie. That's just gonna be released on my YouTube channel, which is the name of that channel is called the Traveling Dude. And so I'm gonna release that movie, and then I'm planning a tour to for the documentary. We Are All in This Together. And so basically, the goal is to travel across the country and show this documentary in different cities and raise money for the local homeless shelter in that city. So that's what I'm gonna be doing
I
this summer.
I think that's really great. That is
Thank you,
really great. Let me let's promote this show coming up. Here we go.
thank you. Yeah.
There it is.
Nice.
Lighthouse Cinema, Friday, Saturday, 7 o'clock. We're all
Yep.
in this together. Come on out, say hello to Daniel, and watch this great show. Go eat dinner downtown Monterey, and let's have some fun and give back to this community. So, um, you said something that was really great when I was going through your Facebook, just checking you out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when you got an award, you gave like a little, maybe 1 or 2 minute speech. You said
Yeah.
something that's really great, and you said everybody has a story to tell, and that was
Absolutely.
really. Think about it, you listeners out here. Everybody's got a story to tell, and if you want to do something and you want to tell it, tell your story. So, Daniel Troia, what a pleasure to have you as my friend and being on Buzzing with Cousin. I
Thank,
appreciate you, and we'll look forward to seeing people this weekend. Daniel, thank you so much.
thank you, Johnny. I really appreciate it. It's been a pleasure speaking with you on your podcast, and thank you for representing the Monterey community.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
Daniel Troia, we're all in this together. A great documentary. I highly recommend it. Check it out. It's really great, and all the proceeds are going to go to Dorothy's Kitchen, giving back to the community. So, cousin Johnny's going to be out, and thank you everyone for tuning in, and we will see you next time. Bye.